In this quiz review video, I'll do 3 examples. One will be factoring, one will be long division, and the last one will be synthetic division. So take a look at problem number 21. We're going to do that one first. And first thing I immediately notice is these large coefficients here, these large numbers. We're going to have to take out a GCF. And the GCF of these 3 numbers is 4. So we'll have to factor out a 4. Another thing that we can also factor out of the x's is 1x, because there's at least 1x in all of these terms. And lastly, I want to factor out a negative, because our first term here, our highest exponent, is negative, but in math class we don't really like it to be negative. So let's pull out the negative to make this term positive once we get inside of these parentheses. So negative 3x cubed, take out the minus 4x, is a leftover 9x squared, positive 9x squared. Our second term here changes to negative 12x. And the last term, 20x divided by negative 4x, is negative 5. Alright? Well, we're not done. The negative 4x stays, but we can factor this one down further. And normally we just have an x squared at the beginning, and we would know to put x's here. But the problem with that not working is we also have a 9, which means that either we'd have 3's here, or we could have a 9 and a 1. We're not really sure yet. We have choices. So let's leave that alone for a little bit. Head over to the other side. We have that minus 5. The only factors of 5 are 5 and 1, which means that one of these has to be 5 and one of these has to be a 1. Next, we are looking at our positive and negatives to try and figure out our signs in here, in each of these binomials. And we know that we're multiplying to get to a negative number, which means we'll need 1 to be a plus and 1 to be a minus. And since our middle term here, they both have to add up to a negative number, negative 12 in this case. So let's make the 5, the bigger number, negative. And we'll pick this one to be positive. Now don't forget, we still have to deal with this 9. I would say just plug in numbers, try it, see if it works. If it doesn't, then try the other ones. So let's start with the 3's. So 3 times 3 is 9. So that way 3x times 3x is 9x squared. Okay, we're good so far. Now, let's check to see if we did it right. So 1 times 3x is 3x. And multiplying the outside terms, 3x times negative 5 is negative 15x. And when you add these, we get negative 12x, which is what we wanted. Good. So we factored it correctly. So right there's our answer. Alright, that's problem number 1. Well, number 21, I guess. And let's move on to the next one, long division. Okay, let's set it up. X minus 2 goes on the outside, and inside the division bar, we start with the highest exponent, x to the 4th. Now careful, next we're looking for cubes, so and they might be out of order, and this one isn't written in standard order, so you'll have to do some rearranging. So next comes 2 cubed. Notice there isn't an x squared, which means we have to make one up. So plus a 0x squared minus 3x minus 6. Let me erase this. Okay. Now let's start in with our long division. to turn an x into x to the fourth, we have to multiply by x cubed, then work backwards, multiply x cubed by both of these terms out here. You'll get x to the fourth minus 2x cubed. Switch the signs, and when you add up each of these, you're left with 4x cubed. Bring down the next term, our 0 term, and start over. So now we're trying to get x to look like an x cubed, or a 4x cubed, which means we'll have to multiply by a positive 4x squared, because we're only missing one x. Then work backwards. So 4x squared times x is 4x cubed, and 4x squared times negative 2 is negative 8x squared. Switch your signs, and then add them up. 8x squared, bring down that term, minus 3x. Alright, keep going. 8x squared, we're going to have to multiply x by a positive 8x. And when we bring our terms down here and multiply that 8x back out onto these two terms, we'll get 8x squared minus 16x. And then switch your signs and add them. 13x. Bring down the very last term, and you have negative 6. To change an x into a 13x, we'd have to multiply by a positive 13. Because the x is good, we just need that coefficient of 13 at the front. And when we multiply, we'll get 13x. And 13 times negative 2 is negative 26. I mean, I ran out of room, didn't I? Alright, so switch your signs. And when you add up these, you get 20. And once we're left with a number, just the number at the end, we're done. And since it's not 0, that means this is our remainder. And how we write that is plus a 20 over whatever you're dividing by, which in this case is x minus 2. So this is your answer to that long division problem. Let's do one more. Number 29, we're going to use synthetic division to solve it. And x minus k is that little thing, that little trick we have to remember. It's got to be in this form or else it won't work. And that means that, okay, our x, our minus, so 2 is k. A lot of people think that k is negative 2 because they just take this whole thing, but that will not work. You will get the wrong answer. Just go right in order. X is the same as x, the negatives are good, the 2 must be a k. Okay, so that goes outside, and then inside we take all of the x's out again, but let's rearrange this in proper standard form. Let's do it over here. So we start with x cubed minus a 6x squared plus 11x minus 6. That way when we take out our coefficients, these are already in the right order. So the coefficient of the first term is just a 1. So you can write that one first. Then we have a minus 6, 11, and minus 6. Next, draw this little bar here, and the other one. First step of synthetic division is to drag down the 1, and just rewrite it. Here's where your steps come in. So this 2, we're always multiplying by k when I draw these green arrows. So multiply by k, which is 2, and 2 times 1 is 2. Then add up the column straight down. You'll get negative 4 and start over. So now we're taking negative 4, multiplying it by k, or times 2, whatever's out here. You'll get negative 8. Add up the column, you get a positive 3. Last time we're going to multiply by k again. So 3 times k, or 3 times 2, is 6. And then we add up this column, we get 0. That means there's no remainder, since we have a 0 in this box over here. And this is our answer. Oops. But the x's aren't in it. So we have to go and put the x's back. So the 3 is okay. Then we know that an x goes next. And keep adding higher exponents. So x squared would come after an x. Add an addition symbol in here, and then you're good to go. So the answer for this problem is x squared minus 4x plus 3. Alright, that's the end of this little video tutorial. This should help you when you're studying for the quiz, just to give you an example of each type of problem again.